Welcome to Redbuilt's Video Guides to Revit.
This video will cover how to do copy monitor as a function and how it applies to Redbuilt drawings. The most important part to start out with is you want to match your project to the same format as the file that you were given. The file that I was given on this particular example was 2019. So I opened up a 2019 Revit project. It's just a template project. The best way to start is to go and look at it in 3D view. This will allow you to see the link that we're about to bring in. To get the link, you'll want to go to Insert and Link to Revit and select the file that you plan on importing. It is important to note that for positioning down here, you're going to want to make sure that that stays on auto origin to origin unless you have a particular reason not to leave it that way. This will deal with elevations and locations and things of that nature. Me personally, I find that it's easiest just to use the elevations that are imported with the original file rather than try and make up your own elevations to suit how we normally do things. Once you have this all set up, go to Open. Oftentimes, this is what it'll look like. You won't be able to see it, but you'll just have to zoom out and kind of scroll around until you find it. And 3D view is easiest to look at this. Revit has the link that is imported will come in kind of like a overview in CAD. It'll be just one big block. It's not pieces like we are normally used to. To start the copy monitor process, we're going to go to Collaborate and Copy Monitor and select Link, in which case you're going to try and hover over this and get that blocks, which will bring up this menu. Typically, copy monitor is used as one term, but they are two different functions. Copy is taking the objects as they were in the original file and copying them over to the new file. The monitoring process, on the other hand, compares the copied objects or objects in the current file to another file. In this particular case, using the copy monitor function, copy, using this button, will copy the objects from the original file and monitor them against the original file. Monitor, on the other hand, is for an instance where, say, you may have been waiting on a file, so you decided to just go ahead and start drawing out the layout. Even though you drew the layout on your own and then got a file later, you can still take those existing objects and see where there's interference by monitoring it against the original file. So you don't even have to copy their objects in if you already have something drawn and still use the monitor function. For the most part, we are wanting to copy since we are trying to utilize the work that they have already completed. First thing you're going to want to do is go to Options. And for our sense and purposes, all of these things here, basically what it's trying to tell you is this is what occurred from the file, and you have the option to change what was imported and copied into something new. As you can see, the things that get copied are levels, grids, columns, walls, and floors. These are the options for this particular file that came from an architect. Of note is there is no beams or joists, even though they are shown on the original file. So once you're done with the copy process, you will have to go back with the condocs and reinstall any supporting beams that may occur. Sometimes this can be handy with architectural drawings where they may inadvertently draw something that's not structurally sound. So they might draw, say, a 2x6 wall as 6 inches wide. Well, it's not 6 inches wide, so we might want to change that to 5.5 inches. But for the most part, we're going to want to make sure that all of these are copied as original type. We want to maintain everything as close to the original as possible. And it is tedious, but you're going to want to do this for all rows in this project. The easiest way to do this is to select it and copy. You can actually drag these and do it in one. It'll copy all of them all the way down. For this example, copy original type is possibly, it can take a long time. I've had one job where it took 3.5 hours. So it really is something you're going to want to do at possibly the end of the day, or something when you don't need to be in that particular file for a while, because it could take a while. For this example, I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to leave things as they are. When you leave things as they are, it takes about 10 seconds, so I can continue with this example. Once you have your options set up, you're going to click on copy and click on multiple. Make sure that box is checked. You're going to want to select everything. This is where 3D mode is particularly handy, because you can obviously see that there's nothing in this file that I have left out. I've been able to select everything all in one go. I haven't missed something because of the viewport not seeing a floor or not seeing a particular item. It copies everything. Once you have all of your items selected, it is important to note that just like most options, once you have selections in Revit, here as well, you can also filter the results. So in a different case, unlike this one, you may not want to copy the floors. You may not want to copy columns or foundations, or especially on a big project like this, that could possibly speed up the process, as it's not copying items that are unnecessary. From here, you're going to want to click on this finish. That process would have taken quite a bit of time if I had changed things, but since it's leaving everything as it was before, it's just importing the file as is. It goes quite quickly. You're going to want to go down here and just select so you can get out of that. It is now copied all the items from that original file. These are all individual pieces, so just like as if you had drawn it yourself. It's everything here is an actual object in real time now. From here, Now it's actually copied and monitored. What the monitoring process does is it actually will take that piece and compare it to the original file. So particularly useful for us if a project manager gets a new Revit file from the architect that updates a wall or grid that has moved a certain distance. They can actually just take that new file and then just drop it into over the top of the original file and replace it. So now that you have copied all of your objects, the whole point of this was, for the most part, the monitoring process. And what that looks like is all of these objects are currently being copied and or were copied and can be monitored versus the original file. As you can see from this symbol right here, it shows that it's being monitored. What that does is, should I try and move this wall, I will get a warning down here that says coordination monitor alert, wall center lines are different. What that's saying is where I moved it to is not where the wall is on the reference file, and so it creates a conflict. That's not to say that I can't change it, but at least it gives me a warning prior to doing so. On the other hand, say there's something, a job that maybe structural change something from the architectural view, and maybe you have a wall that you do need to change and you don't necessarily want to get a warning every time. You can take individual items and stop monitoring it right there, in which case it's as if it's just a copied object and it is not monitored against the reference. I would caution against doing this as much as possible, only do it where necessary, because should the original file change that wall, you will no longer get a warning that that is an object that is different. And the next time you open up your project, it will actually give you a warning that says, hey, this wall moved. Do you want to review it? Do you want to make sure that everything's okay? So it's very useful for getting new condocs where you don't have to go search to see if something changed. It'll tell you. So once you're done, you're going to want to click the finish button. So now the copy monitor process is finished. From here, the easiest or the best practices usually are to get things set up the way you're going to want to see them. So I like to select floors and things like that and hide those elements. The link is still there and you no longer need the link to be visible, so I hide that as well. And then typically the floors, for the most part, floors, roofs, things of that nature are things that we don't typically want to see in a project. So now you have all of your stuff in there. I mean, in 10-15 minutes, I have now done the entire layout for this entire job, and it's accurate. I don't have to worry about whether a wall's in the right place because this particular job was drawn by the architect. So this should be exactly what the architect has on the condocs. And they should be correct to elevations. They should be correct as you see them. And what's useful for it is now I can see very quickly where conflicting walls are. So like this wall here is over the top of a bay with no wall beneath it. So they're going to have to make sure that those joists are stronger, or same things occurring with this wall or some walls down in here. So you can very quickly see where the conflicts are. With a building of this type, once I have it like this, I'll usually copy several 3D pages and I will just select floors and hide those And then now instead of a roof level, I have a third level, and I can do that with each individual one so that I have a view of each floor in 3D. And you can just hide whatever you need to be able to see what you're working on. And that's about all there is to Copy Monitor.
Thank you for watching this video, and please come back to the Redbuilt CAD SharePoint for more information on OneNote, other Revit guides, and other YouTube videos, and also link to 16 bugs for any issues you may have. Again, thank you.